We're here. This one hits hard because this time the nurse wasn't even on the job yet. This time it was a student, 20 years old, bright, hopeful, one of us. Her name was Lucy Ellen Marsh, and she died on Christmas Eve in the very system she was training to join, the same system she believed in, the one she wanted to help fix.
Let's make sure Lucy's name isn't another file in an inquiry. Let's make it a call to action. This wasn't a tragic accident. This was a systemic failure. Lucy went to the hospital for help. She was in excruciating pain. She had a fever. She waited in A&E for hours. Reports say she lay on a trolley for 7 hours while her condition worsened. She developed sepsis, she coded, and she died.
Her mother described it as a litany of failures. Let's call it what it is, medical abandonment. How do you go from being a student nurse one day to dying in the very place you were supposed to learn to save lives?
The irony, the tragedy, Lucy had just started her nursing degree 3 months before. She had her whole future ahead of her. She was training to be the very thing she desperately needed in that moment. Someone who saw her.
And no one did. So we're going to talk about what happened to Lucy, why this keeps happening, and what it says about a system so overburdened and under-resourced that even nurses, even student nurses, aren't safe within its walls.
This episode isn't about blame. It's about urgency. Because if someone like Lucy can die waiting to be seen, what hope is there for the rest of us?
Let's talk timeline. Lucy went to Royal Cornwall Hospital on December 24, 2022. She arrived with severe abdominal pain, a high temperature, and signs of distress. Her condition was flagged as serious, but she wasn't moved. She was left in the emergency department, lying on a trolley for hours. No bed, no full workup, no escalation. 7 hours later, she deteriorated rapidly. By the time the care team realized she was in septic shock, it was too late.
And here's the part that breaks you. Lucy had just completed training on sepsis recognition. She was learning the signs. She was already imagining what kind of nurse she'd be. She was studying to save people like her.
And when she needed the system to save her, it didn't show up.
Let's talk about sepsis for a moment, because this isn't some obscure, rare thing. Sepsis is the body's extreme response to infection. It can happen to anyone. It can move fast, and without timely treatment, it kills.
In the UK alone, over 48,000 deaths per year are associated with sepsis. Worldwide, that number climbs into the millions. And here's the thing, sepsis is treatable, but only if it's caught early.
Early recognition, early antibiotics, fluid resuscitation. That's the protocol, and Lucy knew it. She knew it, but she couldn't access it. Because this wasn't about knowledge. This was about access, about delay, about triage failures, about capacity stretched beyond breaking.
Christmas Eve, overcrowded, understaffed, and the frontline workers who were there, God bless them, they were probably triaging too many patients at once, working with limited resources, burning out while trying to hold the line.
But Lucy's life still mattered. And that's the tension right there. The people working inside the system are drowning, and the people seeking care are dying, waiting for them to swim.
This isn't just about one nurse. This is about a system that is hemorrhaging compassion, energy, and time. The one thing you don't have when someone's going septic.
So what does Lucy's story reveal? That nurses, even nurses in training, are not immune. We're not protected. We're not prioritized. Not even by the very institutions we're sacrificing ourselves to uphold. And that should terrify you. But more than that, it should wake you up.
Let's talk about something that often gets lost when tragedy strikes, the facts.
Let's talk about the Sepsis 6, a basic, life-saving bundle of care. In the UK, this is the gold standard for suspected sepsis cases. Here's what should have happened when Lucy presented. Administer high-flow oxygen. Take blood cultures. Give IV antibiotics. Start 4 fluids. Check lactate. Monitor hourly urine output.
That's the protocol, that's the line, and somewhere in Lucy's care, that line was dropped. Now imagine this not in hindsight, not in theory, but as a real-time experience. You're a 20-year-old student. You're lying there, you're in pain. You're trying not to panic because you know exactly what might be happening to your own body. but no one moves, no one acts fast enough, and your window closes.
That's not just a system failure, that's a collective trauma.
Which brings us to this: what about the other students? The other young nurses in training who saw this happen? We heard from a few who agreed to let us share their thoughts anonymously. Anonymous Voice 1: I was in my second placement when we heard about Lucy. It shook us. I remember feeling sick, not just because she died, but because I knew if that were me, it could have played out the same way. I started carrying a sepsis checklist in my back pocket after that.
Anonymous Voice 2: I watched a patient decompensate in triage once. We flagged it, we escalated it, but nothing changed until it was almost too late. Since Lucy, that moment haunts me. I wonder if we're being trained for a profession that's set up to fail us.
Nat, that's the quiet part, the psychological fallout.
The loss of belief in the very profession you're giving your youth to. The thing no textbook can prepare you for.
So what's the root of this? This is what happens when patient acuity rises, staffing drops, leadership retreats, and funding dries up. This is what happens when we normalize holiday skeleton crews, when we treat Christmas Eve like just another shift, while people are fighting for their lives in overcrowded corridors.
And it's not just a UK issue. In the US, emergency departments are seeing the same patterns. People waiting in hallways, triage delayed, nurses pushed to their limits. We looked at a recent study from the Emergency Nurses Association. Over 90% of emergency nurses reported being forced to care for more patients than they believed was safe.
You want to know what Lucy's death teaches us? It teaches us that knowledge without support is not enough. That even the best, brightest, most educated future nurses still need someone to stop, look them in the eyes, and say, "We've got you."
And when they don't, this happens.
So what now? What do? We tell these stories loudly, often, until every training module, every orientation, every hospital holiday protocol includes the name Lucy Ellen Marsh as more than a footnote.
Until change comes, not just in policy, but in priority.
We end this episode with her name. We carry it with reverence. We send it out like a signal to every nurse, every student, every patient waiting in a cold corridor. We see you, and we won't stop fighting for you. Lucy Ellen Marsh.
Rest in power.
Next week, we step into a story where a nurse's voice made the difference between life and death, a case of near organ donation gone wrong, and the courage to say stop.
Because nurses are often the last line of defense, and when they're empowered to speak up, lives are saved.
Until then, follow us at the Bedside Rebel. If you're a nurse, a student, or a healthcare worker who has witnessed or experienced something like this, and you need a place to share, our inbox is open. You can submit your story anonymously. You don't have to carry it alone. We'll protect your identity, but we won't protect the silence. This is The Broken Shift,